Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming to CEC 15 special session. This is Camille Casaretti. I'm the president of CEC 15, and I want to thank you all so much for coming tonight. Thank you to everyone who has their children with them, to find out about this very exciting new school in District 15. This is a very exciting time for fifth grade families as they are exploring their choices for middle schools. Former State Senator Velminette Montgomery was the thought leader behind the idea for the Harbor Middle School, and we have been working towards this moment since 2016. We are excited to finally have an approved site for this middle school and happy that PS 676 will be transitioning to a full-time middle school over the next few years. This school was designed to be a top-of-the-line middle school and is destined to be a wonderful place for learning, and our children will certainly blossom there. We expect that the Harbor Middle School will be a feeder school for the New York Harbor High School located on Governor's Island, which is really exciting. And I am happy to turn the floor over now to the principal, Priscilla Figueroa.
Thank you, Camille, for that wonderful introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and students present for this presentation. We are very excited as well about the new Harbor Middle School in Red Hook. And yes, it's been a journey. My first conversation with Ms. Montgomery back in 2017 was centered around this whole idea of Red Hook having a Harbor Middle School. And so the minute that she mentioned that to me, it stood in my brain. And from that point on, we've been working together collaboratively with the DOE, with Reimagine Schools, with the team that will be presenting the launch of the first New York City public Harbor Middle School in District 15 to you today. And this team is our design team. So together, we've been able to just get this dream become alive, pretty much. And there's been some steps that we've had to take, and it's been a long journey, and it will continue to be a long journey, but definitely a journey that will benefit the communities, the families of District 15 and beyond. So I would like to begin our presentation, if that is okay. And towards the end of our presentation, we have a question and answer opportunity. So if you have some questions for us as we're presenting, just dump them in the chat if you feel free, and then we will go ahead and go through those questions. One of our team members will read out the questions while I attempt to answer them. I will try to answer as many questions as I possibly can, and Ms. Perry, my lovely assistant principal, will also be taking notes. If we're capable, Perry, I think you have access, or Tim, whoever does, if you could just dump the frequently asked questions doc in the chat so folks have access to it, because some of the questions may already be answered in the document, right? And so, ladies and gentlemen, I will begin. My name is Priscilla Figueroa, and I am the proud principal of PS 676, the Red Hook Neighborhood School. And I'd like to welcome everybody today to the New York City's first public Harbor Middle School in District 15. So our Harbor School consists of the following. Our design team is a diverse crew of educators interested in transforming traditional educational experiences that will empower students to be advocates of sustainability and community resilience. Our team members include, but not limited to, our team is still open to whomever is interested in being a part of our design team. And that includes myself, Ms. Figueroa, Ms. Perry, Captain Jack, Ms. Sean, Tim Gilman from the Ready Center, Ann Fraioli, BOP, Ms. Hartnett, Mr. Munier, Mr. Edwin Pacheco, Ms. Marie, Mr. Hines, Mr. Barrios, Ms. Vega, Ms. Vanessa McKnight, and Ms. Donna Taylor.
Tim, if you could minimize the participants, It's blocking the text. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm sorry. Good evening, everyone. It's been a long day. I'm Miss Perry, Assistant Principal. And I'll just share with you our manifest, course, and destination. Our manifest, our course, our destination. We will provide students with experiences on and around the waterfront that build maritime knowledge and skills while getting students civically engaged. We took a participatory approach to the new school development process in order to create sustainable change and civic engagement through a maritime lens.
Hi, everybody. I'm Captain Jack, and this is, oh no, I just startled my crew member, Esme. I think I might, I was hoping to get through this presentation with our crew member, but it's almost the end of her watch. So she's due for, you know, another shift change. So I'm gonna let somebody else read my portion, but I am so happy to welcome you all. And hopefully I can chime in a little later. Lynn, do you want to take over for me?
Sure, no problem, Captain Jack. Okay, so Captain Jack teaches harbor studies and boat building. And in his course, students learn all aspects of New York Harbor through a hands-on STEAM curriculum designed to spark curiosity and increase students' awareness of the natural world around them. The kids learn by doing as they study marine biology, weather and climate, maps and geography, maritime history, and much more. Through a partnership with Brooklyn Boat Works, students build a full-size and fully functional sailboat right in their classroom that they sail in the East River in June at the program's culminating event. You can actually see a picture of Captain Jack's classroom.
Hi, I'm back. I think I have another. Oh no!
Okay.
Keep startling her. Sorry, Lynn. You take it away.
No problem. Next slide. Okay, so I'm Miss Shawn, and I teach in the STEAM lab at PS 676. And in my class, students learn core science through project-based, place-based learning. The goal is to empower students to explore, understand, and act upon the most important issues facing their community and the New York Harbor that surrounds them. Students act as conservation biologists, food scientists, marine scientists, and water resource engineers as they learn and apply STEAM to fight the climate crisis, food insecurity, and health injustice in their community.
Tim, are you there? Can you go through the partnerships, or would you like me to do?
No, absolutely. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I didn't know, I hadn't had the cue from Lynn. So my name is Tim Gilman Shefcheek. I'm executive director of the READY Center, which is a climate adaptation nonprofit organization that was formed after Superstorm Sandy. We work together with 676 on the formation of the idea of the Harbor School. We also work with Billion Oyster Project. We share the Harbor Studio inside of the school so that we have our facilities right there on site. We also have two other facilities that the school uses. One is a climate adaptation barge on the water in Gowanus Bay, where we allow the students to do various scientific and other adaptive explorations. For example, there's a boat that comes down from the Harbor High School, where we have the Harbor Club, which is a mentoring program where the high school students work with the middle school students, currently the elementary school students from 676, on various projects having to do with water science, climate change, and the marine ecosystem that we're surrounded by. We also have a fabrication lab called the Micro Lab, where we work on things like solar technology and plastics recycling right on site. And again, this is an opportunity to get the kids to do hands-on learning in various fields that are going to be developing into all of the green industries. So it's both a learning and an understanding of the evolutionary process of the economy and the ecology to work together with the changing climate. Thank you.
I'm Brittany Hartnett, and I'm going to talk a little about the mentorship program that Tim just mentioned in collaboration with READY and Billion Oyster Project. So the Harbor Corps Mentorship Program is a collaborative partnership between Billion Oyster Project Ready and PS 676. Our third graders meet with BOP volunteers who are high school students from New York Harbor School. The Ready Center Barge provides a fantastic platform for exploratory learning through water lab experiences. These hands-on projects allow the third graders to learn more about harbor ecosystems, sustainable waterfront design, and environmental preservation while gaining vital workplace skills in their own community. In collaboration with BOP's New York Harbor School volunteers, the students learn career and technical skills. CTE, or Career Technical Education Studies, are designed to prepare students with skills that will eventually prepare them for industry certification in marine science or technology, and includes a continuum of work-based learning experiences in the real world.
Up. Sorry about that. We're having some technical difficulties. There you go. So our present facilities include the following, but again, not limited to. As we continue to incubate at 676, our facilities will grow, and the same will happen at our future middle school once we move over to Delvin Street. So the current building at 27 Huntington has a STEAM lab, which is utilized by Ms. Sean. We have an aquarium that is utilized also by Captain Jack, where we allow the students to have hands-on opportunities to interact with the animals, and a boat building occurs there as well. We have a fully funded robotics program. We have a multimedia center that's used by all students and staff members. And as Reddy mentioned earlier, we have a water lab on the barge outside by IKEA, but we also have a water lab in the building that students have access to, and we're currently building. We have future facility opportunities, new building, about a block away from our current building on Delvin Place. We have a hydroponics lab that is being fully funded. We have a pool. We also have a new auditorium and a student-run podcast system that should be coming very soon, potentially year 22.
So I'm going to share a little bit about our approach to social emotional learning and culturally responsive and sustaining education. We hold the highest expectations for all of our students and design academic and SEL supports to make learning both accessible and challenging for all students. We use the social justice standards outlined by Learning for Justice to guide and continuously refine our planning. Our interdisciplinary projects create opportunities for students to explore and understand diverse needs and perspectives in their own community when solving complex problems and making decisions as a collective. Our curriculum and instruction actively address biases and inequities in our own community and beyond by providing ongoing opportunities to be agents of positive social change. We strive to uplift the marginalized voices in our own community and beyond by centering historically marginalized perspectives in our curriculum and by engaging students in civic action. And finally, we strive to cultivate a growth mindset that embraces learning from mistakes and taking academic risks.
Harbor Middle School curriculum, just a little idea of what it is that we're doing in terms of the curriculum that's currently being developed for the Harbor Middle School. ELA will be taught through expeditionary learning. Math will be taught through Envisions 2.0. Science will be taught through Amplify, and social studies through Passport curriculum. This is all approved core curriculum, digital core curriculum. All content is modified for maritime project-based learning in Fusion. Some special programs, not limited to, but here are some that are just mentioned, and that's the marine science infused with introductory robotics, physics, engineering, and computer science. U.S. Sailing's Reach STEAM curriculum, and the Billion Oyster Project Symposium, which essentially is a culminating science fair that showcases all students harbor learning from the beginning of the school year.
So I'm going to share a snapshot of what interdisciplinary project-based, place-based learning at the New York Harbor Middle School looks like. with an essential question being, how can we design a more sustainable Red Hook in New York Harbor? So I'll start by sharing a little bit about STEAM, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Art and Math. And science students explore the human-influenced causes of climate change and the current and future impacts of climate change on New York Harbor and on the Red Hook community. Technology students visit the windmill at the Sims recycling plant and local solar contractors to research technologies of renewable energy sources to reduce local greenhouse gas emissions. Engineering and art students are tasked with designing prototypes of renewable energy sources to reduce local greenhouse gas emissions. And in math, students use rates and ratios to compare energy and CO2 production from different renewable and non-renewable energy sources and to describe wind speed and revolutions per minute of turbines.
Speak a little about humanities, which is a combination of English language arts and social studies. So students act as geographers and urban planners. They make critical observations of their communities in order to think of ways to better design the Red Hook waterfront to be more accessible and beneficial to the community. And they simultaneously read stories like The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind, which shows sustainable design and critical solutions around the world. I'm also going to talk a little about maritime studies and workforce development in the curriculum. So students will explore the impacts of climate change on New York Harbor and how local marine ecosystems and innovative urban planning can help us to prepare for a changing future. Some field sites students will visit include our Oyster Research Station at Erie Basin, the Gowanus Canal, the Ready Center at Gowanus Bay, Valentino Pier, and Brooklyn Bridge Park. Maritime studies can open up a wide variety of high-quality jobs and career paths, and we help students explore these opportunities as they begin planning for their futures. We also have electives like the boat building program with Brooklyn Boat Works. Students build a full-size and fully functional sailboat using traditional boat building techniques that they actually get to sail themselves in the East River in June. And there's hydroponic farm to table elective as well, where students learn the fundamentals of hydroponic gardening, photosynthesis, and the nitrogen cycle. Students begin planting their gardens and research recipes in preparation for their first harvest. Each harvest culminates with students and families cooking and enjoying a meal from what they've grown.
So you can find out more information about our school and sign up for virtual tours at our website at ps676bk.org. There you can find out information about our PTA meetings. You can find out about our parent coffees, which are every Friday from 8:30 to 9:30 in person outside the school. You could link up with us on social media, find out about special events coming up, and you can see some movies that we create here at our school, like the one that you're about to see now.
join us on our maiden voyage, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome everyone. Like I mentioned earlier, our redesign team, or our design team actually was redesigned when we first started. Now we're designing. And so once again, it's open to folks that are interested, whether you live in the community or not, or you work in Red Hook, or your child is interested in attending the school, you're a District 15 member of the community. We're welcome we'll welcome everyone. Everybody has great ideas. And as you're designing a school building that will help support the needs of a large community, you want to hear what everyone has to say, right? All contributions are necessary and important. So I wanted to just really stress that point. And I have Miss Perry, my lovely assistant principal, that will continue to take questions and answers and add to our frequently asked questions document. We dumped it in the chat for the doc that's already created in the event there are some questions that may have already been answered in that document, and you can always refer to it later on. But I'd like to ask that either Sean or Tim read out some of the questions in the chat, and maybe we can try to answer some of those questions for folks while we have you on the call. Is that okay?
Sure, that sounds good. Tim, did you want to read off the questions? I think some of them I could help answer.
Right.
Sure thing. The recording being made available after the call, can I just plug that it's on our website? If you go to our middle school tab on our website, you can find the same recording there. Different music though, gotta be honest. What else?
Yeah, and so we do ask that you, and I filled out the attendance sheet, by the way, really quick. And one of the things that I wanted to make sure that was communicated was just that. Please visit our website. The website has our asynchronous tour and most recent videos and pictures and other information that can help support some of the questions you may already have centered around trips and project-based learning. Sometimes the visual helps. And then definitely try to make those coffees on Fridays. Marie is there every Friday. And even if it's cold, she will give our families a bag of goodies and let them know that, we can log into a link because it's too cold to be outside, and folks log on remotely to continue the conversation. So that happens every Friday. If you have any questions about Harbor School, those are the in-person opportunities or other virtual opportunities to engage. So I just want to throw that out there for folks so that they're aware of that one.
Another question, I saw you answered it in the chat, Ms. Sean, but I thought maybe you could give another shout out to our awesome field trips. We wanted to know about what different types of experiences that students will have.
Yes, I see Aaron's question about experiential learning and field sites. So we actually are already taking students on weekly field trips for the upper grades. Our fourth graders go on a field trip somewhere along the New York Harbor every Wednesday, and our fifth graders go somewhere along the harbor every Thursday. And a couple of trips that we've done, we have regular visits to our oyster research station at Erie Basin, just behind IKEA. We've done a couple of amazing trips with Miss Carolina, Mr. Peter at Portside, at the beautiful Mary Wayland. I think Caroline is actually here. She actually helped organize an amazing trip where we took the ferry to Pier 6 and Brooklyn Bridge Park and looked at the encapsulation of the wood pilings that are being eaten up by the boars because the water quality is actually improving. And so students actually got to meet the divers and ask them questions and talk to the engineers. Some other trips we've done, we've gone to the Gowanus Canal a couple times, the Salt Lot, looked at some mussel habitats, created our own mussel habitats. And we also are planning trips to go to the Ready Center. Tim can speak to some of the trips that we're planning in the future. But yes, again, it's not just a bunch of talk. Like a lot of us here, we are big believers in place-based learning. We're surrounded by the harbor. It's a beautiful thing about Red Hook is that it only takes 10 minutes to get to the waterfront. I taught at a school, in Park Slope for a very long time, middle school, and it was always a big ordeal getting kids out in the water. So I think that's one of the most amazing things about this school, this location, is that the classroom is everywhere. The water is everywhere. So
here's two questions that we have to get admin to help us answer. I don't know the answer to these. Is busing available for sixth graders? And will there be a dress code?
So busing is available for students that have it on their IEP. Just like every other middle school, if a child is, traveling, they will get, a Metro card, pretty much. That's what it is. So if there is a busing on the IEP, the child will get that busing. So that answers that question. As far as the dress code, we have not decided that yet. I don't believe there will be. We will definitely want to use some Harbor swag, right? Because I think that's something that we definitely want to do, right? We want to promote what we're doing, right? And so I think part of that should incorporate student design, right? And so students getting involved in designing some of those t-shirts and those, the clothing that they're going to wear. So that's as far as, the answer I have for that dress code question. I do want to say something about trips. It's a lot easier for us to do trips because they're local, because we're so close to the water. And I know there are a lot of like expeditionary learning schools or schools that do project-based learning or place-based learning, and it's been a challenge most recently because of COVID. But we're capable of doing these trips because a lot of the trips are local, and we can walk there. And earlier in the year, transportation was on hold. So we were still able to do those trips, even though the transportation was on hold because of COVID, because we're local, right? And so I just want to say that piece. And the other part of having the ferry very close to us and the ferry being outside is another added value that supports us continuing to do these trips. The snack and lunch question keeps popping up, so I'm just going to answer it really quick. There is lunch that's provided like every other school. And our dietitians are really supportive in terms of like trying to get additional snacks as often as they can to the students. The students are also able to bring their own snacks, again, like every other school. We just have to make sure that we consider allergies, and so if that's something that's happening in the classroom, we want to make that public so that, in the classroom, so that families are aware and students are aware.
Fig, while we have you, I have two quick questions, and then I could throw it over to Ms. Hartnett to answer another question. But do we have a plan for after school and offering other languages?
Spanish is the language that we're considering for now. And as far as after school is concerned, yes. After school is currently a program that we offer because we're a Title I school, and so we get DYC funding for that currently with our our K to 5, because pre-K isn't involved in the DYCD. And we're infusing Harbor. Some of the work that was presented today, some of the opportunities the kids have are embedded in our after-school program now. Our after-school program provider is the YMCA, and it is a Compass program, but we're interested in doing the Sonic program as well for the middle school when we get, to that point, when we have middle school students in the building, and it's all depending on, the number of enrolled students and whether or not we meet Title I in order to qualify for DYCD. But we still are going to provide those after-school programs, and preferably what we are doing is incorporating a lot of that Harbor, right? That Harbor CTE, like career opportunities in the after school time, because that's essential. We definitely still have to teach standard-based core curriculum, and we're infusing Harbor throughout the day with our electives. But in order for the students to really get the extended opportunity, after school kicks in, right? And so that's really important for us.
I just want to throw it over to Ms. Arnett. I'm getting a lot of questions about like special classes, IEPs, all that support.
Hi, I'm the IEP coordinator at PS 676. So I'll speak a little about our special programs. So right now, every class that we have is ICT, which means a special ed teacher and a gen ed teacher in the room. We're planning to keep that the same for our incoming classes because we want to support our current students who are coming up. But if there's a need for other types of class settings, like a special class, a 12-to-1 class, right? If those needs come up, then we'll of course be adding those. So, it's going to be based on what our students need. in the incoming class. So we're open to lots of ideas. I know I've been asked about NEST programs before and things like that, ASD NEST programs. If there's, a need and students have that designation, then maybe that's something that we can think about adding. So we're kind of open at this point, but we will definitely have programs to support students with IEPs. We currently already have speech provider. We have more than one counselor. We actually have more than one speech provider as of this week as well. We have physical therapy, occupational therapy, all in our school. And if we had a need for even more supports, then we would find them. We're really big on advocating for our students. So definitely open to anything. I'm going to put my email in the chat again if you have specific questions or you want to ask me something about your child. So we're definitely open to all of those things. Does anyone have a question specifically about special ed right now that I can answer that I didn't already? Okay. All right.
I'll jump in for a second, just say thanks again for your patience, everybody. My daughter Esme is now in a happy noise phase of the evening. So if you hear a little noises from her, that she's much calmer. So thanks again for your patience with that. I'm Captain Jack, and thanks for picking up the slack for me, everyone else. I see a question from Elizabeth in the chat that I wanted to address, which is just a point of clarification about the elementary school and the middle school, because it does take some explaining. It's a little confusing, but as our elementary school transitions to a middle school, all our existing classes will move up through the elementary school. And right now we have an amazing building and lots of room. So that's going to be the site of our middle school starting next year, as we go from K to 5 right now, or pre-K to 5 right now, to 1st through 6th grade next year. And then every year we shift up. So then we'll be 2nd to 7th and 3rd to 8th. And until we stop going above 8th, and the students that are in 3rd keep moving up, and we settle on 6th to 8th. So as you actually imagine, that takes a number of years to do that. The students that will be entering the 6th grade next year won't be in the new building because the new building is slated for completion in, it looks like 2025. But I'll assure you that our building right now has incredible facilities and lots of space. And so we're ready to do all of the project-based learning that we talked about in our existing site.
You read my mind, Cap Jack. That's exactly the next question I was going to throw it to. So with that being answered, about how we're going to slowly incorporate everybody, we had a couple of questions about class size potential and how many 6th grade classes we would have. I'm going to guess we could probably just simplify the answer by saying we have to wait to see how many people enroll.
Right. So our class sizes are at 30 right now. And so that's the answer to the class size. I mean, it all depends on how many students are enrolled, right? But that's where we cap. And as far as how many sections we'll have, we don't know that yet. I wouldn't worry too much about, how many sections we're gonna have. I would just apply, I would just apply. And I think that that's what we want to do, because then, that's where we determine, and enrollment determines pretty much how many sections we can accommodate. But I wouldn't worry too much about, thinking too much about that, right? Worrying too much about how many sections we'll have. And we're definitely going to offer at least one ICT class, because our current 5th grade class is ICT, and they're going to roll over to the middle school, to the Harbor Middle School. So we would need to offer them a class. So that's something that we already have an answer to. So definitely, when the applications come out, get those applications in if you're interested, and then we can take it from there. That would be my best answer.
Ms. Figueroa, there's another question that's kind of related to the one that Jack just answered. Christy asked, are the teachers who are currently teaching the elementary grades going to continue as it becomes a middle school, or will it be a new teaching team?
So we have teachers currently in the building that are licensed to teach both elementary school and middle school. That was done intentionally because we need, middle school teachers in order to build and grow a middle school, right? A few years before. When we transition over next year into becoming a middle school, we'll only have that once, 6th grade, right? Whatever sections we have. And so the middle school teachers ideally would roll over to 6th grade to teach those sixth grade classes because they're teaching in their licensed area, right? Our elementary school teachers will continue to teach the elementary school classes until we phase out completely. Those teachers will have an opportunity, and we've engaged in conversations as well about certification. That's another topic. But those teachers that are interested in continuing education so that they can become middle school teachers will have the opportunity to do that. And they can grow along with us, remain there. Our staff are well aware of this and are very excited as well. And they're excited to stay with us if they need to for the next couple of years to continue to build our students, in terms of like exposing them on the elementary school level and infusing Harbor, preparing them for that middle school phase. And then at that point, when their time is up, they're willing to go ahead and transition over to elementary or remain with us. But it seems like we have a clear understanding and everybody's on the same page. So we're all excited about that and willing to do what's necessary to provide those services for our students. So I think we have a good balance of both. And I think the team would agree. So, and it's necessary as you're growing an elementary into a middle school, right? So you have to prepare them for both. We do have physical education. We provide that for every student currently in our school, and we'll continue to have that. One of the things when we transition over to the new building that we will offer is swimming, because we will have a fully Olympic-sized swimming pool. So we will be providing that service as well, and that'll be considered a sport. But until then, while we incubate over at PS 27, we will continue to have sports programs during the day and after school.
Nice. You answered another one of our questions. Will sports be offered? Another thing we wanted to know, and we covered this during the presentation, but music and arts is something we wanted to know. Will it be offered? And another quick question was about if there will be prep time or prep opportunities for students to prepare for the SHSAT.
Yes. So again, the SHSAT, middle schools, most, it's offered in middle school, depending on the school. Yes. And we're definitely open to that. Again, that's, based on need and up to the school. So yes, that's a consideration. As far as the elective is concerned, music, the new school so far, we're in conversations about having like, a music room. And that's really important. We are also considering as we move up, right? Because the electives have to grow depending on how many students we have in the building, right? Harbor is definitely going to be something that we offer from the beginning with the sixth grade cohort, but we're definitely open to having the music program and having music after school programs as well. So that's definitely something that we think is necessary for our students, and we want to provide that.
Can I chime into that? I feel like Ms. Figueroa has put together a very diverse design team and is continually searching for more diverse, passionate teachers and educators to make sure that, as students move through the Harbor Middle School, that they're exposed to as many different experiences as possible. So we see Harbor as serving as kind of like a lens to engage with learning, but it is by no means limited to only Harbor studies. We do think that having that theme really enriches the project-based and place-based learning, but I think we all aspire to creating an experience where students learn to love learning, and we think that the arts are critical to that. So please know that we very much aspire to that, and it's all going to be responsive to the needs of the folks who enroll.
So I have one quick answer I can give to one of our questions about what types of sports we'll be offering. I think we're going to have to just wait and see what teachers and people are available to offer those sports. But I can say our physical education teacher, Mr. Monier, definitely he provides a great number of sports opportunities during PE class. And we're certainly going to push to have more sports teams join in as we become a middle school. I do think there's a lot of parents that are wondering about our current fifth grade class size. Are our current fifth graders going to have preferred placement into the middle school? And I was just wondering if someone on the admin team could maybe talk about the size of our school at the moment and the potential it has to grow and potentially quell some anxiety about not getting it.
Yep. So we, our class sizes are very small currently. So, you know, you're still capable of, let's just say, for example, you have a 6th grade student, you've applied, you got into the Harbor Middle School, but you have a 2nd grader and, you know, you live within the zone and you want to enroll your 2nd grader. That's a possibility. You can do that, right? Because you're in the zone and you can enroll your 2nd grader to the elementary school. That will automatically roll into the middle school because whoever is enrolled in the school gets priority. So that's number one. So whoever is in our school currently in the 5th grade will get a seat in the 6th grade, right? So that's number one. We want to make sure that that's clear, because that's one of the things that we wanted to do. We wanted to provide the students currently in the school and the families in Red Hook priority, right? So they do have priority. However, it's very small. Our 5th grade class is small, so there are so many other seats that will be made available to other folks. So that's that question. And Tim, you asked me something else. I'm sorry, I got a brain freeze right there. I forgot that second part.
Well, I can jump in a little bit and just add to that, and just as an example. Oh no! Every time I start talking,
She's
it's
too
just
cute.
her. I'm so sorry.
But she's so cute.
Maybe if I just
She's
keep going,
loud.
she'll come.
There was
Never mind.
Fig, there was a question about whether our 5th graders and students will have preferred seating for our middle school.
Yeah, I mean, they get priority. So yes, they will get priority into the middle school. One question that I did see in there is, do we have priority to the Harbor High School? And that the answer to that is no. We do collaborate with Harbor High School. I mean, Ann Fraioli is part of our design team. Jeff has also been part of the design team and, you know, was part of the whole Imagine Schools application process. And we are partners, and we're designing together experiences and, you know, doing all kinds of career opportunities for students, but not priority, you know, yet for the Harbor School. We're not a priority school. So just so that folks know and we make that clear, you know, we're not like a feeder school for the Harbor High School, but we're definitely working together to prepare our students with skills and experiences in the event that they do want to apply for the Harbor High School, right?
Quick question about whether tech and coding will be offered. I also feel like this might be me leveraging into a tech and coding role at the school, Ms. Fig.
You know, I'm down, Tim. That's one of my dreams. So definitely, yeah, if we have the opportunity to provide that, right, as an elective, or, you know, infuse it into our math, where we use a very interdisciplinary approach. So there's opportunity to infuse that into any one of the subjects, right? So yes, the straight answer is yes. So there's opportunity to get that, you know, for students as well, to have that. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to excuse myself because obviously my baby needs to get to bed, but I just want to say on a personal note that I've been working at a middle school for a number of years, and I was always happy there, but I came to PS 676 because I saw this opportunity to be part of something really exciting. I'm passionate about boating and the ocean. I'm a little obsessed with the ocean, and I want to share that passion with students. And I know from experience that students, you know, the passion is contagious. Passion for learning is contagious. And Lynn said that, you know, you don't have to be a boat person to see the world through, or to benefit from seeing education through a lens. And New York Harbor is the perfect lens to sort of approach all the other subjects that surround us and to understand our neighborhood, to take a role in our neighborhood. And so, you know, just on a personal note, I'm super excited and really glad that I made the switch to this school. And, you know, I just hope that you see that and feel that same excitement. So I'm going to say goodbye, and I want to thank everybody for being patient with me and my daughter Esme, but thanks everybody, and take care. Bye.
Thanks, Captain Jack. And as Captain Jack exits, I want you to notice that Sit's classroom in the background. So that boat is actually living in his classroom. And that is the boat that the students are designing this year. And they will sail that boat. So it's really exciting stuff for the students to be able to experience that, right? And he does love the water, and I love the water too. I think all of us do. So any other questions that we haven't answered?
There's a lot of questions that I do believe will be answered in our frequently asked questions document on our website. I do want to pitch it again. If you have any sort of small questions, to go there. As terms of like where our COVID protocols will be next year, I'm going to have to say we're going to have to wait and see on those. I think I can also personally plug, I think there's a lot of people here who you're going to meet who love the ocean, love nature and stuff like that. I am somebody who was petrified of the ocean for a very long time. And then I studied a semester in college at sea. I was at sea for 110 days, and now me and the water are very connected. So I want to encourage all the people that are like, I am afraid of the water. I don't want to get into the water. I don't think I could go to a school. Like, I have to say, have an open mind. If you have an open mind and you come here, you will mesh with all the same people who have passion for the ocean, have already loved the ocean their entire life. And once you start to learn about the ocean and the way that it's connected and the way that it's been traversed and conquered throughout history, before in prehistory, all the way to current history, you will fall in love with it too.
Yep, I totally agree. And last question in the chat that I just saw was, and I just want to take a minute to talk about that. It's the CRSE. So do we have advisory? Well, we take the advisory approach currently through the CRSE work. I mean, we have counselors and we have advisory all the time. We talk about culturally responsive curriculum, and we're building it. We have an SEL program, and we're part of the, our equity team works along with District 15 often. And so one of the things that I just really want to make sure we're clear on is that that's one of our priorities, right? So advancing equity and making sure that advisory is on the top of that list, because we need to hear how students feel. And we want to make sure that we're aware of what their needs are and how they learn and what's important to them. So advisory is something that I, as a leader, believe is extremely important. So to answer that question, yes, advisory is something that we offer at our current school and will offer in our middle school in whatever way we can provide it. And we really try our best to build relationships with the students on a daily basis. That's what we're supposed to do. And so that's how we get to know what students really need, right? And how we can provide support for them. So
can I hear an example of a project, 2 projects that are happening that really showcase like student voice?
Yep.
And choice. So Mr. Munir, who's not here tonight, he leads the student equity team here at PS 676. And he is and I are planning an interdisciplinary project that's going to result in students designing a mural for the school, a mural that represents what the community wants to communicate, whether it be activism or their culture, their heritage, their pride. And so leading up to this mural design, students are going to do community walks. They're going to look at local activist art, including a trip to Brooklyn Museum next week, where we're going to look at an exhibit on activist art, also showcasing that it's interdisciplinarity, but also, of course, going to the waterfront, as we always do, to really understand how the needs of the Red Hook community and their long history and their interactions with the water. And another project that's in the works that all of us here are planning right now is a school redesign. Okay, I keep saying redesign, school design proposal for the new facility. We're actually going to get students' input and give them the opportunity to advocate for what they want to see in this new facility. So this is a really exciting opportunity, and we really want to give students an opportunity to apply everything they're learning to really make a difference in their own life.
Thanks, Lynn, for sharing that. We'd be here all night if we keep sharing everything that we're doing. So I just wanted to say thank you to everyone, but we're really excited about it. And if we could, we'd be here all night with you guys because we're very passionate about what we do. So but I want to be considerate of everybody's time. It is past our hour. So if there's any other questions, we're open to answering those questions either through an email or at our Tuesday tour. We have tours every Tuesday. We have our coffees on Fridays. You can see Marie in the schoolyard by 8:30. We also have our student tour starting tomorrow, and Miss Lynn Sean and a few other redesign members are going to be involved in that student tour. We're excited about getting the tours out with the kids. It's student-friendly tour, so it's different from what we've presented to you folks, but the students will get an opportunity to see some hands-on learning and do a little activity. And so we're excited about getting those tours up and running as well. And so just make sure that your students are aware of that, your children are aware of that, and that they let us know whether or not they enjoy the presentations. And if you have any other questions, you can always reach out. I've dropped the website in the chat. So if anyone, if you guys have an opportunity, please check us out. Check us out on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. Anything else, guys, that we want to share? Because
I got a YouTube. We got a YouTube.
And YouTube. Here we go. Check us out there too. Thank you, guys. Have a good night. Camille, I'm going to bounce it back over to you.
So sorry, I couldn't get my mute button to work. Thank you all, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. This was just such an amazing amount of information to absorb, and just so impressive, and really happy and excited that this dream is becoming real. So I would encourage all of you to list the school very high on your students' application. And thank you so much, wonderful presenters, and Ms. Figueroa. Congratulations, everyone. Have a nice evening. Talk to you all soon. Bye.
Thank you, Camille. Thank you, CC member.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank
you.
you.